So we were talking about misalignment in health and stress and anxiety in sales. People accept that sales is stressful, and it is, right? You have these quotas and things like that. I think a lot of that stress comes from this transactional short-term approach, though, because it's how can I hit my quota this month and on to the next one, and on to the next one. It's never ending, right? Yes. Versus saying, okay, let me build this relationship that's going to be $2 million in revenue 3 years from now, but I know I have that lined up. And just like you've done over 5 years in sales, and now you totally eclipse whatever 5, 7, 14 times it was originally, is to say, okay, those were the seeds that you planted years ago, and that reduces the long-term stress as well.
Absolutely, because like, as I said, for the long game, so this is something that happens all the time with quotas. So right now I'm over-attaining for like my quarter, my half number, and being able to do stuff. And some people want to be like, I want to crush it one quarter. I'm more of the element that's like, I'm a pacing guy, and I had to learn this from actually doing CrossFit. So this is my obligatory CrossFit statement. Like when I thought CrossFit was when I first started doing it was go as hard as you can and just see how much pain you can inflict on yourself. Until I realized there's actually a strategy to it. Because no matter what, everybody has this thing called science, and your body can only do stuff over a period of time. So without having the recovery period. So once I learned that and realized this wasn't like an endurance running, so it was pacing yourself and learning pacing and learning when you can empty out the tank and when you cannot and where you need to be able to strategize. And it was more chess than it was checkers. And as I'm there, I'm like, oh, this is how these guys get so good, because they just learn over a period of time how their body functions, how they do things. And so you got to ask those questions for yourself in the business that you're doing and the way you're being. Like, you can be the guy that's a home run derby champion, but has 2 great seasons and nothing else, or the guy who's a perennial Hall of Famer who's there producing year after year after year. And that strategy is different, and it's always long-term focused.
Right. I think there's a badge of honor with salespeople and business people in general to say, I work 16-hour days, and I don't rest, and I make 500 calls a day. Yeah. But like you said, it's not sustainable for most people. And sometimes you get a freak of nature that I made, but it's maybe one out of 10,000 or 100,000 people. I spoke to an entrepreneur the other day over in Ireland, and he worked 70 days straight, like between 14 and 16 hours, no breaks. Finally took his first rest the other day, and he slept for 15 hours straight. Yeah. He said, I didn't even know this was happening to my body, but I haven't worked out. I haven't been taking care of myself. I'm so stressed out, and my performance is actually dipping.
Yes.
Right? So when you look at it that way, okay, manage yourself. Don't look for that badge of honor in someone else's, someone else looking and say, oh my gosh, that guy's such a hard worker. But look at the long-term play and what's going to be best for you personally, and also what's best for your business, because they're usually aligned.
Let's look at I'm going to tell you 2 different titles of a book. Which book are you more likely going to read? The 19-hour workday or the 4-hour work week?
Yeah, right.
It's this crazy thing that I love, that Arianna Huffington is now at a place where she's talking about what happens to your brain when you don't sleep. Right. And the negative impact of what happens for the long-term stretch of not sleeping and not taking care of yourself, because true company, yes, you may work and be completely passionate about it, and there are times where you're eclipsed and you're having these really long days. But at the same time, if I think about Tim Cook, for example, or Elon Musk, or guys that are running things, do you think they're spending their time going ahead and wondering about if the bathroom on the 3rd floor is clean right now? Or did this product get shipped properly? Like, they may be thinking of from the high level things of what they need to be able to do, but true CEOs aren't operating that way. Right. So start treating yourself like a CEO and realize what are revenue generating activities, and spend the 80% of your time there, because you start developing what I call operational intelligence. As you begin developing operational intelligence, you know this task takes you 2 hours to do. So now, to be able to maximize your time, find somebody who can be able to do it 80% as good as you. Because the biggest challenge that I've seen between entrepreneurs and salespeople from being where they are today to where they want to be is leadership skills. Right. Because they're yes, we're in this world where we want to control our own reality and have this freedom, but we also need to become leaders and learn how to do that. Because if we look at the income gap of somebody who's doing like $60,000, $70,000, $100,000 a year, and somebody who's making $100 million a year, one's a better leader than the other person. Because if you want to drastically grow and multiply yourself, you got to be able to lead other people. Right. And you got to be able to lead them effectively. And if you're not working on that leadership capacity and becoming a better leader and understanding those things, that's where you're missing the gap, is because eventually you're going to need to replace yourself, or when you leave, that company will die.